Have you ever thought about being an author? Well, on this show, you're going to meet 3 authors who have taken pen to paper or fingers to computer keys to write their story. Meet Dr. Nicolette Martin, a medical doctor who is certified by the American Board of Physical Medicine, as well as the American Academy of Pain Management, Age Management Medicine, and also holds certification in nutritional counseling, health coaching. She is an author of several publications, including most recently, Love What You Eat, Choosing Foods That Will Change Your Life. Then you will meet an author, Morley, Malaka, who discovered his gift for storytelling while delivering assistance within the shelters of New Orleans. During Hurricane Katrina, he spent evenings telling Turtle Tom stories to the children and parents alike that has now blossomed into a series of books. Our last guest is Tyra Garlington, author, educator, business owner, mentor, and inspirational speaker. This Cincinnati native holds a master's in psychology from San Diego State University. Tyra has been a teacher, principal, and a psychologist. Her book, Memory Box, is for anyone seeking peace and hope. So I want you to sit back and relax because author, tell your story. We're listening. Well, Dr. Nicolette Martin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Well, Dr. Martin, I really was excited about you being on the show because one thing is that we get a chance to talk about some of the things that you're doing, which is pretty good, which is a lot. I saw you at a particular event. I want you to tell a little bit about yourself. Tell us about yourself.
I'm originally from Illinois, and I did my medical training. I went to undergrad actually in New Orleans at Tulane University, and then came north to do my training in Philadelphia, went back to Chicago for my specialty training, and then got my job, my first job actually in Alexandria, Virginia.
Hi, Alexandria. We're lucky to have you. Very good. Now, why did you write the book, Love What You Eat?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. I treat patients with pain, and a lot of patients with chronic pain, one of the things they don't do is move. And part of that is because of pain, but part of that is because they maybe eat the wrong food, so they don't exercise, so they sit on the couch. And so moving will help them feel better. So I wanted a way for them to just start very easily to start to change what they do and to start to change their lives, so hopefully they could feel better. And then also the epidemic in this country with obesity, adults and children alike, is just, it's out of control. And I wanted to find a way, again, for it to be easy. It's very easy if you just do it sort of step by step. So I was encouraged in the hope that I could give people a first step who were struggling trying to find a way to change.
So what's the overall theme of the book?
So the overall theme is how to change what you eat, how to change your health, how to change your life, one food at a time, one step at a time. You don't have to clean out the entire kitchen pantry. You don't have to join a gym or join a program. You start by changing one food a day, maybe one food a week to make it a little easier. And as you do that, you'll start to notice you can walk a little farther, you feel a little better. Certain foods that you thought you liked may not taste as good. Other foods with natural sugars like apples and bananas start to taste much better than processed foods. And so you start to change both physically and mentally in terms of the way you see food. So you're really addressing how we need to change, what we're eating.
So what's the process? How do you get started with something like that?
Well, you can start by buying the book.
Okay.
But it really is, again, I try to tell people, start by keeping a food journal. Because a lot of people say, I don't eat that much. I don't eat that much junk. I'm really a pretty good eater. So if you keep a food journal for maybe 1 week, and you write down every single thing you put in your mouth, from a piece of gum, a mint, a Tic Tac, everything. And you look at that over the week, you'll see, oh, there were a handful of potato chips, and there was half a bag of M&Ms, and and you'll start to see the things that that really cause you to not feel good and to gain weight. And so when you start changing those things one food at a time, pick one food for breakfast. You're not going to have 3 donuts today, say, for example. You're going to maybe have a bran muffin.
Right.
And still have your Pepsi if you must, or your, something else. One thing at a time, one step at a time, and then it'll start to become habit, and it'll be comfortable. It won't feel like a diet.
So, in your thought, particularly as a doctor, as a physician, what's causing the obesity epidemic?
Processed food, in a nutshell. Processed foods causing the epidemic. There are a lot of people who, anything in a bag, in a box, in a carton, is to a certain extent processed. So,
like a box,
in
or
a
in
carton.
a carton.
So the more whole food you eat, fresh food, unprocessed, because it doesn't have the sugar, it doesn't have the salt, it doesn't have the fat. Trans fats are just, there's something that the body doesn't even recognize. The body can't process trans fats, and so they just get stored.
Right.
And so people need to understand that most foods have some level of trans fats. If you say, I'm going to do low carb, the only way to get that to be tasting good is to put in more sugar.
Wow.
Low fat, I add more sugar. Otherwise, you wouldn't buy it. So the boxes and the bags are really
boxes and the bags are
really what's
enemies.
killing us. Yes.
Whoa. So, okay. Have there been successes of people using, what your prescription, or using your book in your plan?
Yes, there really have. It's really worked well with some of my patients, and then I also have clients that I counsel, and I do speakings like to companies and corporations. So let's try to find a way to start your employees from eating less junk from the vending machine, for example, giving them healthier choices at lunch.
Wow.
Getting them maybe on a walking program, they start losing weight, they miss less work, your insurance rates go down. So it's a whole big package. But yeah, fortunately, some people have really started to notice changes, and it can change your life.
It can change your life. Well, I know what you're saying is true. What motivated me to do this show is that I had my annual with my doctor. He was very kind to me. And he calls, come here, Ingrid. And then he said, what are you eating? And he went into it, and I had actually been just off the charts with the sugar. So what you're saying is quite right. Now, so I'm glad that, you're talking about what we need to do. Now, a viewer who's out there, how can they get excited about this? I'm excited about what you're saying because it's bags, boxes, and cartons are our enemy. What can the viewer out there do? You said, yes, we'll look out for your book, but how can we find more information on your book?
You can go to the web, my Facebook page, or my website is Must Love Foods with an S, mustlovefoods.com. You can follow me on Twitter at MustLoveFoods. Those are probably the easiest ways. The book is online at Amazon, and you can always get it via ebook as well.
Okay, well that's really excellent. And I would tell you that I'm a big library person, so I bet you we can get it at the library too.
Yes, absolutely.
Public library.
Absolutely.
Because I think that it's so valuable that we really want to get that out to our community. And any words of advice that you want to give our viewers out there about eating foods and food
I would
selection?
say one of the first steps starting tomorrow, the next time you go to the grocery store, stay on the outside rim of the grocery store. The fruits, the vegetables, the eggs are all on the outside. If you venture into the inner parts, the inner aisles, that's where all the bags, boxes, and cartons are.
Ooh, all right.
It's set up like that for a reason.
All right, set up like that for a reason.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is inspiring. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Martin, for being on the show. You're amazing, and you're inspiring. I am going to be on the outside shopping.
That's great.
The next person that will be out here talking will be Morley Malaka, and he's going to talk about the wonderful Turtle Tom books. So enjoy and please get something to eat, but come right back here. And make sure it's not in a box, bag, or package. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you, Morley.
It's very good to be here.
Malaka, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm local to the area. I was born in Georgetown. My mother and father married. They live in the area, married for about 40 years now. And I have 3 brothers. Just a quiet guy in the neighborhood.
Quiet guy who wrote this awesome book.
Thank you.
So let's just dive right on into this. Your inspiration for writing this book?
Well, you know, about 10 years ago, I had an opportunity to go to New Orleans. And while I was in New Orleans, Katrina had just hit. So I got a chance to volunteer with the Red Cross. And after dinner, the only thing they wanted to do was entertain the kids. So I said, okay, how about I just tell stories? And instead of finishing the story every night, I would just tell a little bit and I'd leave them like a cliffhanger.
Like a cliffhanger.
And I'd come back. And so every night, more and more kids would turn out just to figure out what happened. And I promised them that one day I'd release them. So 10 years later, I released them.
10 years later, oh my goodness. And so what are the stories about with Turtle Tom?
So it's actually interesting because the story about Turtle Tom, it talks a little bit to those kids because he's on a journey to find his way home. And every time he's trying to find his way home, there's always some situation that he finds himself in to where, you know, he has to overcome or he has to just believe in himself. And that's what they were going through back then. So it really resonated. And of course, you know, you always want to leave them with something positive at the end. So Turtle Tom found his way.
He found his way. So you were inspired. Where does Turtle Tom come from?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I knew that I wanted to do a story, and I didn't want to do a typical, you know, dog or cat or bear. And I was just thinking about, you know, animals that are loved by everyone, and the turtle came to mind. And then, you know, it's kind of a play on words. You know, you start thinking about the big characters of today, the Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, and I just thought, let's go with the reverse, Turtle Tom. And that's how it came out.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Now, is this Turtle Tom here?
That right there actually was created by a very talented young lady by the name of Tania Neal. And she came to an event where I was marketing Turtle Tom, and she said, I can make Turtle Tom. And so I thought that was very interesting, and she made quite a few of my characters, and you know, that's a fun prop, but yeah.
Oh my goodness,
she's
it's
24 years
wonderful.
old. I thought it was fantastic.
It really is. So Turtle Tom is looking for his way back.
Yes, he's trying to find his family. He's trying to find out, you know, along the way where home is. And, you know, again, the significance there was, you know, I ran into a lot of families of kids who they didn't know where their mother was. They were with the father and the grandfather, and so they were just trying to connect. And every time they tried to connect, it's either they missed them at this shelter or they missed them at this school. So, you know, I just wanted to leave that positive message at the end.
Wow, that's powerful. It is very positive, too. So who did the illustrations?
So I worked with a gentleman by the name of Josh McGill. I just did an open call, and you know, I found Josh. He sent me his samples. I thought they were incredible, and I had a vision for what Turtle Tom looked like. So we spent about a year, you know, trying to negotiate, you know, the best possible scenario for both of us to work together. And after a year, I sent him the scripts, and he was impressed, and he said, I'm all in.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in West Virginia.
And he's in West Virginia. Now, I also found fascinating that you are self-published.
I am. So, you know, I know that today, you know, people go in different directions, and one of the things that I wanted to do was take control of the process. I understood that, you know, to not give up that control, I had to be hands-on, and I had to do a lot of research. So after doing that, you know, it looked like going in the self-published direction was definitely the way to go. I had the ability to release all of the books at once because, you know, I'm one of those folks where I feel like if you release the books in time frames that lapse too long, people become impatient, especially kids.
How did you know?
So, you know, I wanted to be sensitive towards that. Absolutely.
So you have that, and what is your goal? I mean, when you say someone has read your book, and so what do you want them to remember from reading your books?
Well, you know, Turtle Tom is a fun story. You know, the books itself do a few things for kids. I put coloring pages in the books. There's a connect the dot activity in the back. There's a fun fact about turtles. I want kids to learn about a different type of animal, and also along the way, they get to experience, you know, that joy of being able to achieve what it is that you believe in. Right. So the story really does, you know, take you through that journey. I made sure I didn't have a talking animal. It's narrated so that you're in the mind of the turtle, and you just stick with the story.
I noticed that, because even when I looked at the video, you know, it was like I could keep it in my own head.
Yes.
So that was really important, you know, and particularly for, you know, sometimes little people, they need to keep it in their head and use their imagination.
Absolutely.
So I think that was really very key. So do you have another book planned?
Not necessarily another book. You know, one of the things that I always get fan mail about is a coloring book. The kids do enjoy coloring. So I've decided to go ahead and put out a coloring book. Hopefully that'll be done towards the end of the year. Wow. And I want it to be a little bit educational. I want it to actually have, you know, holidays and Turtle Tom representing that. Wow.
Well, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
You look amazing,
Thank
Morley.
you very much.
Thank you.
And I brought you a present as well. Ooh. So you get your own Turtle Tom series.
And you know, I like coloring.
Absolutely.
This is mine.
So please.
All right, well, stay right there, because you're going to see a video about Turtle Tom book series. And then coming up next, we will have Tyra Garlington on the show. So stay right there. We'll be right back.
The Turtle Tom book series is a wonderful story of a young turtle who strives to find the family he never knew. It starts deep in the woods, where a small miracle happens, and Turtle Tom is born. He's all alone, but knows that he has to find his family, so he sets out on a discovery voyage. Along the way, he will meet friends that will keep him company, take care of him, and ultimately help him find his way home. But the adventure will present challenges, as he avoids capture, being attacked by other animals, and getting lost on the beach. But in the end, the adventures of Turtle Tom will teach you that life is full of challenges and setbacks, but keeping an open and determined mind will lead you to your dreams. Visit our webpage at www.turtletombooks.com.
Welcome back to Ingrid's World. I'm your host, Ingrid Nicolette. Now, let's welcome to the show, Tyra Garlington. Welcome to the show, Tyra.
Ingrid, let me say congratulations for the show. Aww. I remember when this was just a dream.
Remember when we were in Bangkok?
Yes, it was just a dream, and look at you. In fact, you are a perfect example of a woman who had everything inside of her he needed to be the woman she was created to be. Well, bless you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I didn't expect that. So
you're living the life. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Well, I want you to talk about your career, because you have just had an amazing career.
I think probably 10 years ago I would have talked about it differently, but in this season of my life, I see it more as a journey. I see it as preparation for who I was to become. And you know, some of it was up, some of it was down.
Oh, absolutely.
But I discovered gifts I didn't know I had. I got direction to places I didn't know I'd go. But when I left Ohio State, I walked right into a classroom because I love teaching. I come from 4 generations of teachers, so it was a no-brainer.
It's in your blood.
But after 3 years, I realized some of my students were marginalized in terms of behavior, in terms of emotional issues, and I couldn't help them. And as a result, I found myself in a graduate program at San Diego State University to become a counseling psychologist. And once again, I was on the clinical staff at the University of California, San Diego. Now, you talk about being out of your lane.
Right, right.
I was out of my lane.
What?
I was challenged by dealing with people who had come to a point where they needed so much help. So I had to learn it was a process. I couldn't just jump in and fix them. I had to let them evolve.
Wow.
And from there, I had bad news. Daddy was terminal, so I moved back to Cincinnati.
Wow.
And there I started my first 22 years with IBM.
Wow.
Another big turn in my life. As you know, IBM is bottom line driven, so no matter how hard you work, the question was, what have you done for me lately? But this is what I learned. It's okay to be a woman and be competitive. I learned the difference between assertive and aggressive.
And aggressive.
And I learned that it's okay to try again after you failed.
Right.
And for the first year I was with IBM, I kept thinking, oh my goodness, I don't have the answer. Till I understood it wasn't necessary.
Well, I'm telling you that one of the things that I actually I love about you and love about your book
Thank you.
is because you speak about IBM and we go through this journey with you.
Yeah.
And what a powerful journey.
Yes, it was. It was.
And your book captures that because you talk about all the various things that you've gone. What inspires you? I mean, here you were at IBM. I met you when you were with Fairfax County.
Yes.
What inspired you to write something like that?
If the truth be told, author was not a part of my dream.
No.
My dream was what I was pursuing as an inspirational speaker,
Okay.
as a life skills coach,
Yes, I
and
see all of
teaching,
that.
all right?
You're very good at that.
But
Very good.
my audiences would start asking, Tyra, where can we buy your book?
Ooh.
And I was a little taken aback because I wasn't an author. And my girlfriend who traveled with me when I spoke said, Tyra, what they're asking is they want more of you than the 45 minutes of you on the stage. They want to connect with you.
They want to connect
and
with
they know
you.
that your story is more than what they have. And I said, but I don't, she says, there's a reason, try. And I did, and Ingrid, there's funny stuff. I didn't know where to start, so I just started writing stories.
Right, right.
And one time I said, maybe I ought to get somebody who knows what to do. So I Googled this woman who was a memoir coach at NYU. I shipped her my manuscript and she said, well, Tyra, you're a great storyteller. You like metaphors. It's 20,000 words too long. And oh, by the way, what's your main theme?
Oh, wow.
So Patricia Ross and I began a relationship.
Wow.
And it came to what I've always been talking about is God's grace, His power, His provision. And I start the book, as you know, taking the reader with me, being unconscious on the floor, in the bathroom,
Right, right.
having a heart attack alone.
Right. Oh,
And
that was powerful.
I gave up. I said, this is it. So my book is meant to inspire and to hope people who are being challenged as a result of a number of things in their lives. And particularly it's written for women, interculturally, intergenerationally, and those who love them. And what I want them to know, no matter where they are, what wilderness, whatever valley, they're not alone. They're worthy.
Absolutely.
Like you, they have everything they need inside of them to live the life they were created for.
Right.
And I think more importantly, nothing that happens to us, the good, the bad, the scary, nothing will ever be wasted. And that's because of God's grace.
Ooh, that's powerful. That's powerful. And so, and I really think that that's amazing. I will have to, I have to ask you this because I loved reading this. Do you have another book planned?
I'm in the editing phase of my second book.
You're kidding me.
It's a sequel, only it's called You've Got to Give Me Room.
Ooh.
And the tagline is To Walk in My Destiny. It's a collection of monologues of me from this new me, the me that has evolved and embraced that life that I was created to live. And I'm not afraid of how it may be judged. It's just, you got to give me room to be the new me. Yeah, I hope it encourages other people to take the same steps, Ingrid.
Well, you know what? I think that that's what it's all about, and that's why I was excited about you being out here. Your website, tell us your website.
Delivered into Destiny is my brand, and the memory box, and You've Got to Give Me Room come under that. And I have another brand, which is Destiny's Children. So I'm starting to write my first children's book now. We got to start telling kids that they're wonderful when they're little. We got to get the tapes when they're little started, how wonderful they are.
I can remember that quote from The Help when she stood there and she looked at that little girl.
You is smart. You is smart. You is beautiful. Yes, 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 yes.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you, Tyra, for being here on the show because
Ingrid, thank you.
You have inspired, you've always inspired me, and I remember that manuscript with us in Bangkok.
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
Keep doing the wonderful thing. You have so much to share with the world, and I'm so glad that you are sharing it, and I'm in presence, and I'm sitting up. I've been given a front row seat.
It's an honor.
So
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank all of our authors for being on the show and the books that you have written to help us lead better lives. My quote this time is from Toni Morrison. If there is a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it.
Amen.
Thank you for watching Ingrid's World, and don't forget to friend us on Facebook and follow us, Ingrid's World VA, in Twitter and Instagram for instant Ingrid's World news. So stay in touch and let's read.